Cool, so hello again friends, and welcome if you are watching. I don't think anyone is at the moment, but if you are, as always, please subscribe, like the video if you like it, and feel free to say hi, ask any questions in the chat. I wanted to get some hand flying practice in this lunchtime, just a brief little flight just to try out Zibo Fix 13, and I thought Edinburgh had some traffic and some controllers. Nico's on his way inbound here as well, so we might see him. But just fancied a little bit of hand flying practice under some sketchy-ish weather with broken clouds at 1600 feet, so we should be able to do some circuits at 1500 or 1000 would be really interesting. So here we are. I think this is stand 106. But I do need to get the charts up. So maybe it's 103. Anyway, as you can see, the Ortho is not as good here. So just a comparison with Bristol. So we got 3, 4, 4th stand down, so 106 I think should be at the end here. 5, 4, 3, maybe it's 102. Not convinced. That's 1 stand, that's 2 stand, so I'm going to call this 103 and hope for the best. So, without further ado, it says somebody's watching, so if you're watching, please say hi, and I'll try and talk through as much as I can, although it will get pretty busy in the circuit. Here we are, cold and dark aeroplane, completely. So, let's get the aeroplane powered up, ready, and start getting configured. Pop the battery on. AC power, steady lights are on. Config check. Get the irises aligning. Turn the brightness up on my actual monitor. Get the yaw damper on. I'm going to pop the pumps on so I don't forget before we start the APU. Iso's on right, cabin diff 0, hydraulic pumps can go on. Window heat comes on. It's looking a bit better. Trim air, cabin, max auto, APU's on. I think we will be going no higher than 2000. We're going to need to be at 1500. The elevation here is about 130 feet. But the aeroplane should be pressurizing because we're not going very high. So with that in mind, I'm going to set 2100 here. So it is 24 in use, which is 241 on the runway heading. So 241, 061 downwind. And then we'll configure the rest. Set the FMC up pretty briefly, and then crack on with getting ready. What we do need to do is 0 payload, and we'll go for 15 tons of fuel, so that might take a bit of time. So let's get the aeroplane fueling, and that will give us a decent amount of payload. And let's pop over to ground 12175. And I think that might actually just be Nico arriving there. I don't know what livery that is. I don't know. Royal Emma Rock, is that the closest? No, I think Nico was in Ryanair, so we'll just have a look on there. The old VATSIM radar. Oh, these guys still aren't inbound. I'm not sure how long they're going to be, maybe 10-15 minutes. And with any luck, we'll be taxiing out by then. But of course, that will depend on the fuel, which I might just change the settings to instantaneous and see how we get on. Having a look for the ILS, we can have the ILS and the Edinburgh NDB tuned or backup. So the NDB is 341. And the ILS is 108.9. So, happy with those. Let's have a look at the FMC. Nav data's current position. We are Echo Golf Papa Hotel. I'm going to call it stand 103. Pop the GPS in. We are from here to here. The ATIS is 13135. So I will just detune that so we can hear the ATIS. Good, 1019 is what we need. What we've got set. Just check that we've got hydraulic pressure. We do. And as you can see here, I'm gonna, oh, where did that 5.1 come from? Okay, so plan of 5. Reserves, we don't really have an alternate, but if we get down to anything less than 5 tons, I want to know about it. And we should have 15 to give us a nice weighty aeroplane. We should be cruising at 1500 downwind. We're not going to put any winds in. Going to execute that. It's no D rates for the takeoff. It's going to be a flat 5 departure. And the gross weight is not correct at the moment. 24 in use, and for the arrival it's just runway 24. We're going to do nothing else apart from that. On the legs we're going to pop runway 24 in the fix. We want a 4-mile fix ring, and we want, I'm going to say, a 10-mile fix ring, because we definitely don't really want to be going any further out than that. I'm just trying to have a look. So the MSA is relatively high to the south, so we do have to consider that. Having a look at the airport charts, does it say anything about circuits? Taxi, parking, high terrain, so we are going to want to have the terrain radar on the captain's side at least. General use, can't see anything there. Noise abatement approaches, arrivals, visual approaches. Nothing there, so minimum runway occupancy time, I will be doing touch and goes. So not a lot that I can glean from that. I'm going to expect a left-hand circuit, which is going to put our downwind a beam point at 151. The runway heading is 241, so knock 180 off that. And that should give us a beam point once the IRS is aligned. And that's important because obviously in the real aeroplane you can tell when you're abeam. It's pretty difficult in the sim to do so. And that is essentially all we need for the departure. I'm going to pop. Do we want any thrust reductions for climb? No, we don't. So I'm going to put these at well above what we're doing. We're going to pop the wind in 250 and 14. Dry runway, and so that will affect our downwind. So it's 15 seconds per 500 feet. We're going to anticipate that we're going to get given 15 or 1600 feet. We can accept because we're having to fly this on the QNH. You can see there is our fixed ring. I'm not sure why we've got to. Oh, end of descent. Okay, so that should all tidy up and disappear soon enough. But you can see our 4-mile ring here. Our downwind beam point, and if that changes, we'll change that to 331. So thinking about the wind, it's 250, which is basically straight down the runway, and we should lose, I think it's 1 second for half the headwind, so it's not going to be 45 and 30 if we're at 1500 or 1600 on the 1600 on the QNH. It's going to knock off 7 seconds, so it's going to be 23, and 45 becomes 38. That'll be a pretty tight circuit. Anyway, now we've got all the info that we need. Just waiting on the aeroplane to finish fueling. Let's get the APU started. Airport on this one. Flight directors can come on. And we can tune up to ground and see what's going on. So we've got the ILS tuned here, but I don't actually want that on. It's can live with that. That does look correct as well. So I am going to set the VFR circuit code 7010 unless we are advised to squawk anything else. Happy with the radio set. And so we are still fueling. just having a chat, messaging tower, see if they can fit us in. Might need a bit of convincing. Of course 1600 we can fly about all day at 1600 with good viz. So he's trying to make his mind up. Let's put traffic inbound. What we got? Who we got? Where are they? So, how are we doing on the overhead? The APU is on the bus. Fueling is almost done. So, let's get that secured. And we are just waiting on our remaining fuel. So, 4, 8, 6, we'll have about 7 tons in the centre, which we're just waiting for. Okay, so we are still fueling. So, fueling looks to be complete. So, let's get back on here. 140, and we want 525. Takeoff trim works. So let's get the tow hooked up.
Ground to cockpit.
So
Plan acknowledged. Call me through to when you're ready. Tow is driving up.
Parking stance chart I have got. It's on. Anyone watching? No, no one is watching. So we will wait till we are fully ready before calling up. Get rid of that this side. And if we do get given a different circuit direction, we can sort that out as well.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
So at least I've given Tail the heads up, which is basically the same as giving a call in reality. Is there anybody about? There's a couple. Edinburgh ground, good afternoon. Prefect
So
99.
connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Prefect 99, 737, 800 information, Hotel QNH1020, stand 103. Request push and start for visual circuits. Okay, we'll push and start and we'll get clearance of the whole. Prefect 99, thanks. So that was a little bit of a mess, but I'm going to take that as ready. Assume that it's crew in the back. And it's up 20.
Starting pushback, and you may start
And we are on
engine.
the push. So 58 ton gross weight. The LDAs could be interesting. But what we have got here is about 8,000 foot of runway. So a little bit shorter than ideal, but we should get away with it. It'll just be interesting, and we can't be floating, mucking about too much. So the packs can go off. It's a little bit of a long push, but we've got plenty of fuel. Start engine 2. So not bad for a 20-minute setup. Most of that was waiting for the fuel. You can see that you could get ready pretty quickly if you had the aeroplane in turnaround state. Let's get the fuel on and stop distracting myself. So yeah, there really isn't a lot to set up. The ND should sort itself out in a bit, and if we do have to go IFR, we can accept that as well. And for that reason, we have got the ILS tuned. Get into the hold if need be, although it might be a little bit of a mess. So Tower 1187 we've got. Start engine number 1.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
So 25% fuel on. So there's starter cut out. 2 nicely stable engines. Tugs disconnecting. So let's run through the before takeoff flow.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
I'll tell you what, why don't we just set that for 5,000, just in case we do end up climbing. IFR, tow's on its way. Just wait to see the pin before we carry on the rest of the flow. There is the pin, so flap 5. So runway 24 here. Dry, the wind is 25014. It's 13 degrees. 1020. And we will be certainly touching down with, what have we got here? 58. You can see relatively short, and if we do stop, we do need to have some auto brake. So, flying control check. full forward, full aft, full left, full right, full left rudder, full right rudder. It's checked, and the before taxi checklist generators are on, APU is off, start switch is continuous, probe heats on, anti-ice not required. It will be if we end up in cloud and if the temperature decreases a little bit. Altitude set, PAX auto bleeds on, ISO's auto, flap 5, green light, stab trim 525, required 525 set, flight controls checked, recalls checked, we are ready to taxi. Edinburgh ground, prefect 99, stand 103, request taxi. Valley point echo 1, prefect 99. So, clear taxi, just straight ahead. Clear left, clear right. Brakes off, config checked. Ooh, there we go. So, minimum flap is 1000 above, which we haven't set because I don't have the a SID. So the airport elevation is 136. Well, I put Charlie 1 via Echo Alpha, prefect 99, thanks. So Echo and Alpha, prefect 99. Due to weight, we request holding point Delta 1. Holding point Delta 1, Echo and Alpha, prefect 99, thanks. So good look round to the left, good look round to the right. So we want terrain. Again, so it's going to be an automatic takeoff to start with, and then we'll progressively turn things off. And I think what we might do is actually have a D-rate for the climb. So that we just don't have too much power initially available. And for the takeoff one, thrust reduction can be at 800. Give us a slightly controllable climb performance. See how we go. We can always cut that off, and we're going to be flying it relatively manually anyway, apart from the first takeoff. So our takeoff initially will be climb straight ahead to whatever our circuit height is, probably 1500.
1, 2.
Is a heading select, climb upwind, level off, turn downwind, and then we'll start to disconnect everything. Hopefully it's a left-hand circuit, otherwise we've got to just update this here. Then we'll be downwind and into the circuits. It'll be downwind for 23 seconds, configure gear down, starting the stopwatch abeam, and then 38 seconds is when we start our descent and our turn onto final. Tower 187, thanks. Prefect 99. Tower Prefect 999 are with you. Approaching hold Delta 1. Hold Delta 1, Prefect 999. Behind the landing, Ryanair 737, line up on wait, runway 24 behind, prefect 909. Roger, stand by, prefect 909.
Approaching 24.
So we'll just get into position. Hold with the brake on, which we would normally do. And then we'll take the clearance.
On runway 24.
Prefect 909 ready to copy. After departure, right-hand circuit, not above altitude 2,000 feet. QNH1020, squawk 7010, prefect 909. So we will go 1500 because that is not above. It's right-hand, so we just need to update this to 331. Prefect 909 ready for takeoff. Ready for departure. Clear takeoff 24, thanks, prefect 909. So 40%.
On runway
Right-hand
24.
circuits.
On runway 24.
40%. Brakes off. Power. Toga. Time. So relatively heavy, but we've got all the power available.
80 knots.
So you see it coming up pretty quick compared to our normal D-rate takeoffs.
V1, rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up. Onto the flight directors. Not above 20.
400. 1,000 to go.
Bond A. And you see the airplane is climbing like a skyrocket.
1,000.
So, let's see if we can actually
1,000
go
to
to
go.
2,000. Yes, we can. That does affect because that takes us to about 1,900. Makes the downwind a little bit tighter, a bit bigger. So wind is coming slightly from the left. And we are now 19. So 57 seconds minus 50 is going to be 50. And 30. We'll see how that works out. See our downwind point just approaching there. So we should get the runway appearing. But we haven't. 061 downwind is fine. Prefect 99 downwind 24 touch and go. Okay, prefect 99. So 061, we are flying a nice downwind. We can carry out the after takeoffs. It's important that you don't arm the speed brake and have the anti-skid off. Flaps are already down. Start switches can go off. Brakes off, and we can start the clock. We're waiting for 30 seconds for configure. So, UF is going to be 47. Not sure why we're drifting there. So 30 seconds. Gear down. Flap 15 and leaving the throttle where it is. The speed should just start to match. We do really need that flight path vector, which I will look to set up in a minute. A little bit of a trip change. Then we are looking for 50 seconds to start the descent and our turn. So we've already started a bit early. A little bit of back pressure. Let's get the flight directors off. Descending, so you can see how rusty I am. So, no traffic seen, nothing on TCAS. And what I am going to do is try and use the localizer to help us align. Because what we don't have is that visual reference. So we go through the localizer a little there. So full flap. Have to check that caution. Prefect 99 final, touch and go 24. Clear touch and go 24, prefect 99. Okay, so that's just an off-schedule descent.
Approaching
sort that out a little bit later.
1,000.
1,000, continue, we're still a bit high. So speed brake's not armed, auto brakes off, landing flap, gear down 3 green, start switch is continuous, and we are cleared to land. So do need to just get that final approach,
4.
runway extended centre line. Maintaining 1,000, so we are still a bit high. Extend.
500.
Downwind a little.
$400. 300.
Then this guy stops.
200.
It's a little bit slow.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Down we go. Stand up the throttles. Maps to 15 and travelling.
5,000 feet remaining.
Go. Power up.
4,000 remaining. 3,000 remaining.
That was pretty comfortable. Positive rate gear
Too
up.
low, gear. Too low, gear. Too low.
400.
There's 400, flat
Too low,
5.
gear. Too low, gear.
Thank you for flying Ryanair. Last
So
year,
hopefully that will
over
stop in a
90%
minute.
of our flights arrived on time. We hope you
400
enjoyed
foot
yours,
climbing
and we
turn.
look
Let's
forward
get
to
your plane
welcoming you on
trimmed.
board again soon. Ryanair.
Speed's pretty stable.
Low fares, made simple.
1,000.
Now we may find that we're in cloud at this point.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are all very welcome to this airport. For your own comfort and safety, please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until the aircraft has come to complete stop and the captain has switched off the fasten seatbelt sign. Please refrain from smoking until we have reached the designated smoking area, which is well outside the terminal building. On behalf of your
So there we go, we're just getting a little bit quick.
and we wish you a safe onward journey.
bad. Now I've got to leave the start switches on continuous. Bring the power back, and then we want 061. Prefect 99, visual the traffic, downwind, touch and go 24. Port final number 2, prefect 99. So stop the clock again. And we're just creeping in. Now I'm not sure if we're going to have time to sort out the arrival. Not sure that's helped. Would prefer to have our line. Anyway, gear down. Flap 15 at 30 seconds. So we're pretty much just maintaining the throttle setting. A little bit of a trim change to maintain height, maintain altitude in this case. And then at 50 seconds, flap 25. Start our turn. Need quite a lot of back pressure to keep the descent rate at about 500 feet a minute and the horizon about halfway up the windscreen. It's all visual, just checking with the instruments. Of course it looks a little bit different. So do you need that line? So on this one what we might do is instead of a 400 foot climbing turn, let's go straight ahead and get the autopilot in. Get the autopilot flying us so we've got a bit of a longer downwind. And still a bit high, so flap 30, landing flap. Prefect 99, final 24, touch and go. Clear touch and go 24, prefect 99. So it does make it that bit more difficult not having that guidance of an extended centre line on the ND. Obviously in reality you can see the runway all the way, so it does make it that little bit easier. So 1,000 feet a minute is a little bit of a steep descent, so we're still a little close in, but correcting nicely.
Approaching 24.
Just a little bit to check that. A little bit high, back onto the pappies. Certainly feel the wind.
300.
Give me a little bit of a... Doesn't look like it's moving about, but it certainly feels a little bit variable.
200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
That'll do. Stand up the throttles. Flap 15, trim set.
5,000 feet remaining.
15, go.
4,000 remaining. 3,000 remaining.
Off we lift. Positive rate, gear up.
Too low, gear. Too low, gear.
400.
Too low, gear. Too low,
So-
gear.
Let's get the aeroplane configured. So yeah, this is not playing.
1,000 to go.
It's a bit of a hassle to get everything back in. do us. So let's see if there's anything that we can do about this. Sort any of these out. There we go, that's given us the extended centre line, which is going to sort out our problems. Enable us to pick that up a lot better. Should have done. Let's go to flat 5, I just couldn't hear that in the background, so easily distracted. We're still VMC at this time, Prefect 99. Negative, sorry, might be a scenery thing. Roger, okay, I can see a bridge out to the left. I'm going to assume that those are the 4th bridges, and I will orbit left hand once a beam. Prefect 99. Roger, left orbits over the 4th row bridge, Prefect 99. So I think that's these, but it's difficult. I think that's the rail bridge, but it's difficult to tell on this. So we'll bring it back to the flat 5 speed. And we're going to go for a left orbit. Back to 241. So that's got our extended centre then. Anyway, apart from that, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? So we're just about staying within 4 miles. We're still visual, which is fine. Doesn't look like anybody's watching. Actually, it says a couple of people are watching, so if you're watching, hello. Hello, Stefan. I think, did I just see your message as you popped up and said hi? As you can see, mine's pretty sketchy. Number 2 to the Ryanair 737 on final Wilco, Prefect 99. So let's go left again. My pretty sketchy circuits. A-firm, Prefect 99. Roger, thanks. I'll be on traffic after that. Thanks for the service, and see you again soon, Prefect 99. Thanks, bye. So, he did a pretty good job and accepted my request with good grace, even though he thought circuits in a 7.3 would be interesting, which they are, but they are certainly possible. That's the other runway right ahead, which is a little bit worrying. My pretty sketchy circuits have been pretty interesting, but I think I'm just about now getting the hang of them. So we're almost a beam downwind. I'm going to let the autopilot fly it, and then we will set up for the approach. And we could do these orbits ourselves, of course. But this is a good way if you're just starting out with the mod on the 737 to get some hand flying practice. You can do as much of this on autopilot as you like, but as you can see, it's actually kind of difficult to get configured back into the swing of things again. So anyway, we're downwind. Start the stopwatch. We're looking for 30 seconds, and I might try 35 and 55, but we'll see how we get on. So I'm just going to match the thrust with the hardware as best I can. I'm not going to descend just yet. Gear down, flap 50. I did did get VATSIM working. So yeah, VATSIM has been pretty much golden. So gear down, flap 15, and we will match speed initially. And then we're looking for 147, I think it's 146 now. And then I said we were going to wait till 55 seconds, so disconnect the auto throttle. Set 146. 55 seconds. Flap 25. Start the turn. There's not much of a crosswind, but this. There you go. You see how much easier that is to intercept that turn. I think we were a little bit close in, so we're gonna have to go straight to 30. See how much easier it is to use the turn indicator there. Thanks for the service, see you later, Prefect 99. So, 1228. Edinburgh traffic, Prefect 99, final 24, touch and go. So, landing flap set, you're a little bit quick. It's pretty distracting. It's actually, I find, a bit harder to come off the autopilot and get back onto the manual rather than flying it. You can see our rate of descent is pretty high because I didn't really sort that final turn out. So we will just get the speed set, get the aeroplane trimmed, and we have self-cleared ourselves. So water brakes off.
1,000.
Landing flap, gear down, 3 green, start switch is continuous. Recalls checked, and we have announced our landing intentions. So that really isn't working. I'm going to add 5 seconds to everything.
Approaching 2, 4.
So we get out and see if I can get these turns, the final turns, a little bit better. So there we are. See, Pappy's coming in nicely. So just a little check of the pitch. A slight increase in throttle just to keep it on. It's gone away. So we're maintaining speed with throttle, and rate of descent is controlled by pitch on the latter stages of the approach.
200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
So we'll just fly that aeroplane on. Down it goes. Stand the throttles up.
5.
Flap 15 as it travels.
Remaining.
There we go.
4,
Set. Go.
Remaining. 3,000 remaining.
And as we get to our bugged speed, that's our rotate. So there's positive rate. Gear up.
Too low, gear. Too low, gear.
400 we can go to flap 5, but we'll just maintain.
400.
Too low, gear.
We'll maintain about 12.5 degrees pitch up. Trim and start our climbing turn. So you can see there's quite a lot of excess power there.
1,000.
Reduce that power to about 80%. Stop the speed from running away. And we will be levelling off in the turn, so about 200 feet before. Looking outside. And don't forget to bring the power back, otherwise the speed does that and runs away. It's a little bit sketchy, just needs some more practice. .400 feet climbing turn gives us a nice tight circuit, saves a bit of time. What was it? Upping in the back. Not sure why we have flap 2 there, I must have just pressed it slightly incorrectly, but we're maintaining 2,000 quite nicely. We can roll out on about 061 there. Edinburgh traffic, prefect 99, 737-800, downwind, 24, touch and go. So, creeping in a little and creeping in with the height. We can reset the stopwatch and we're looking for 35, 55. Yeah, that's just because we've got the door open and cabin noise in the back, which you wouldn't have on a base training flight. So there'd just be 6 people in the back. So 35, gear down, flap 15. And then we will look for 55. Flap 25 to start the turn. So, military would call final as starting the turn, but Civi World is wait until established. You get a little bit better information by calling when you've started the turn, especially when there's other people in the circuit. And if you guys do try this, it's quite a lot of back pressure to maintain that attitude, which is why you can sort of see it floating about. And you don't want to trim for it completely. You just want to keep that rate of descent at about 500 feet a minute. And you can see how helpful the extended centre line is there to line up when you can't see the runway in reality. You also would be able to just by looking around. Yeah, Prestwick is a slightly bigger runway, so a bit more of a safety margin, but Edinburgh did have some VATSIM coverage, which was why it was fun. Maybe we'll just pop over to Prestwick visual if I get the chart out in a minute. Edinburgh traffic, prefect 99, final, 24, touch and go. So still a little bit high, so I'm just going to keep that in the view. Landing flaps set, water brakes off, start switch is continuous. We've cleared ourselves to land because there is nobody online. Gear down, 3 green.
1,000.
Checked. So we're just getting a little bit, I think that's 1 red, it's difficult to see. It's obviously a lot easier in reality to see the pappies. Right, okay, I'll tell you what we will do. Because I think
Approaching
somebody else is going to
4.
start doing circuits here as well. Maybe we will just do a 2,000 foot VFR jaunt to Prestwick. I can't see that traffic one. On
500.
TCAS.
400.
So that looks a bit better.
$300. 200.
The airplane a bit better aligned than that, but you can see just keeping that aiming point constant, which is just opposite those pappies.
100.
Going to be a little bit high.
50. 40. 30.
Check.
20.
Close.
10.
Hold the attitude. Airplane touches down. Stand up the throttles. Flap 15. You set the trim.
feet remaining.
Keep it straight with rudder. Engine stable.
4,000
Flap 15. Go.
remaining. 3,000
Throttle up to climb. And then
remaining.
as we hit 146, start the rotate.
2,000 remaining.
15 degrees. Positive rate.
Too low.
Gear up.
Too low. Gear.
400.
Flap
Too
5.
low. Gear.
And we'll start a nice climbing turn. Get the nose up, and the trim is pretty slow. There it is. A bit better. And
1,000.
TCAS doesn't work, so I don't think either I've ever had that as a problem. So we're upwind. I don't know what this guy's flying, but it could be something particularly slow. 200 feet before, let's start bringing the power back. Lowering the nose. It's a bit better, isn't it? Speed doesn't get away, you've got to get the power back relatively quick. Quite a lot of things to do. I like to have the heading pointing downwind because it reminds me. There we are, downwind. VGL99 downwind, 24 touch and go. So here we are, approaching downwind, a little bit high. Forget to get gear off. There we are on a beam, so we can start the stopwatch again. So he should be able to get away before us. Although that traffic, if I can't even see it, it's probably something relatively light. So 35 seconds. Gear down. Flap 15. And then with that slight pitch change, just maintaining that attitude. Don't be tempted to chase the speed because it will come back. You might actually need an increase in throttle. 55, flap 25, start the turn. I think we've crept in a little bit. So 500 feet a minute, about there. See it just drifting about. So the question was, am I a pilot in real life? I do have a private pilot's license. And I have done some gliding instructing in my past. So a bit of real world experience does help in the mod. But like I say, there is always quite a lot that you can learn from the real guys on YouTube. Especially when it comes to procedurally, because the airplane isn't actually that much of a handful to fly. And the more hands-on practice you get, the better, in my opinion. So doing things like this will really, really help. So there's the runway bit high, but flap 30 because we're assured of landing. Just bring the throttle back. VGL99 final, 4 miles, runway 24, touch and go. So there we are on approach. I think it's difficult to see with the pappies. But we just want to make sure we don't get slow.
1,000.
So continue at this point because there is somebody on the runway. But our rate of descent is not looking too bad. We are a little bit low.
Approaching.
Now we look okay.
2-4.
Bit of bulkage. So landing flap, gear down, 3 green, start switch is continuous. Quite clear to land, recalls checked.
500.
At this point, what is that ahead? It's something very small.
400.
So we are going to catch up on him. But if you can fly the aeroplane by hand like this, especially with ATC online, then you'll find it a hell of a lot easier, you know, to fly go-arounds, etc. It is hard work, but
200.
certainly worth it. So we're a little bit high. That approach got away from us.
100. 50. 40. 30.
Check, close,
20.
hold,
10.
touching down. A bit late. Stand up the throttles. Flap 15. Take off trim set.
5,000 feet remaining.
Engines are stable. Flap set,
4,000
go.
remaining. 3,000 remaining.
There we go, lifting off.
2,000 remaining.
A little bit closer to the end because we were a bit delayed that time. Up onto 15 degrees. The traffic's pretty tight.
400.
So 400, let's log off to Prestwick. So 400, flap 5, positive rate gear up. So I'm pretty sure it's just sort of straight ahead.
1,000.
So let's just let that climb rate bring it down. Get the aeroplane accelerating. And we will go to flap 1 as we start to accelerate. And we'll be looking for 200. So flap 1, flap up. Ample fuel to do what we need. Just have a little jaunt, I guess. So there's the gear actually going up. I think that was just my hardware switch that wasn't playing ball there. Yeah, that explains a lot. This is why you need pilot monitoring. And you can see we've got quite high. Air traffic prefect 99 departing the zone to the west. So, yeah, Prestwick is 40 miles straight ahead. Let's have a look, and let's squawk 7,000 because we're not in the circuit anymore. Just having a look on the VATSIM map. There is no one online, and we just crept up a little bit there. So why don't we go? I mean, 240 is good for the maths. Trim's fine. So yeah, ignoring airspace and everything else that's around us. I have got a VFR chart, but it's only of the southern UK. So, do we want to go to Prestwick? And could we ever think about what we do there? Actually, well, why don't we? I can get the chart up. Of course, we could put the autopilot in the cruise, but the airplane is happily flying itself at the moment. So GA stuff, VFR is actually pretty easy. You do need Ortho if you want to do it with a real chart, so that you can see exactly where you're going. But if you used airfields as turning points, do it offline to start with, then you could certainly use an airfield as a turning point and just go airfield to airfield. And there's flight planning tools online, but like I've said before, you can do it all manually in your head, mentally, work it all out based on the wind. And in something like this, it's a little bit easier. So yeah, it's all certainly possible. You can see Prestwick is out there. So let's have a look at the charts for Prestwick. One thing you can do is some of the online tools, like I use SkyDemon in reality, you can actually connect them to the sim so that they give you what you'd get in reality. So that's also quite cool. Echo Golf Papa Kilo is Prestwick. We could have a little jaunt down to London, to be honest, but it would probably take a bit too long. Airplane is just ever so slightly rolling to the right. No fuel imbalance. see we're maintaining 2.6 there. Nicely trimmed, about 220 knots. And once you've got it, I've literally got hands off, I'm doing nothing. Zoom level, so this is zoom level 17 for the whole of the UK, and as you can see it's pretty good even at this sort of height. It's a little bit stuttery, but what I have got is ex-Europe for the overlays, roads, everything else. And I mean, what you could do is you could follow the roads, so whatever motorway that is that goes to Glasgow, you could follow it, and you could follow roads just like you could in real life. It's all done on headings and timings in reality. So maybe I'll plan a VFR flight. Yeah, you could use that map. But the only thing with the Avitab map is that it doesn't show airspace or anything like that. It just shows the world, I think. So a UK chart. I tell you what, why don't I get SkyDemon up and use that, because I don't have a chart for up here. So I think we have followed the M8, looking at the VFR chart. We're sort of heading towards Glasgow, so in reality there's some airspace here that we would want to keep south of, and to maintain VFR we're going to have to drop out of these clouds as well, so we may be descending beneath them, and as you can see there is a little bit of terrain about, so there you go, that'll get us below. See how slippy the aeroplane is and how much speed is built up just in that little dirty dive there. And so as we slow down, just gradually trimming the aeroplane back to neutral so we don't descend too much. As long as we are 500 feet clear of persons, vehicles, vessels and structures, we will be legal. Maybe not smart, but certainly legal. Orbex, I think Orbex is, but it's not free, and a bit cheap when it comes to stuff like that. So UK at zoom level 17 takes up about 460 gig, but that's UK and Ireland. So yeah, not a huge amount, but certainly worth it for GA. And I mean, a normal VFR day like this, you'd want to be a little bit higher, and it's low level nav is a bit more difficult because you get relief is more noticeable than the ground features, and it's very difficult to see things that are ahead. So I think we've done sorry, SkyDemon's just updating, so I think this is just coming down to sort of like East Kilbride, which is a VRP for Glasgow, I think. So I haven't planned this route, so I don't know. But yeah, just a happy little jaunt. And at about 220 knots, you can see over the ground speed is 220. So it's only about 5 minutes to Prestwick, 5 or 6 minutes. For the PPL skills test, I think it's plus or minus 3 minutes on your timings. So you can be really, really gash with timings and just wet finger in the air. So yeah, 20 miles straight ahead. So interestingly, it seems like thermals are pretty well modelled. See that we're going up. Now you'd feel that in the real aeroplane, so it's a little bit easier to counter. So wind farms, there should be some big wind farms out to our left. So we've gone over East Kilbride, there's a big old wind farm. It's really well marked, and because it's got the overlay, it's there as well, so I know that we're to the north of that. And as you can see, like, you don't actually need to use the FMC for everything. It certainly helps. And if I load up the chart for Prestwick, so this is the real aerodrome chart from the Civil AIP. Aerodrome chart, let's load that up. It's just a PDF, but 304 is the runway heading. So if we just pop that on the heading, see that the runway is something like that. And if we were doing left-hand circuits, we'd be in a pretty good position for a standard overhead join. Initials is fun in this aeroplane, but that needs a little bit of practice on my part, because I really planned it. Yeah, thanks. I'll see you later. Have some good lunch. I think I'll just do a standard circuit into Prestwick and land. So why don't we pop that in the route? There is Prestwick. Let's put runway 30, not knowing what the weather is actually like, but you can see it there. And then we'll just try and make a non-hash of flying this standard overhead join into Prestwick. It's not every day you get to do that. Prestwick traffic, Prefect 99 is 15 miles to the north. Standard overhead join, runway 30. Don't think anyone is about. But anyway, this is us. So completely unplanned, completely off the cuff, really gash for real life, but hey, in this, if I crash, I'm not going to die. But we're in not a bad position for an overhead here. What we are is a little bit quick, so I'm going to go to idle throttle and try and maintain about 2,000 feet. The runway is pretty long. I haven't done the performance. Water brake 2 should sort us out. So we want to maintain that speed down to the up speed. Trimming all the time, or at least trying to. I say it's quite difficult to feel what's going on with the aeroplane, especially with no feedback in the controls as well. But we're into some pretty expensive territory for force feedback stuff. So, trying to keep the nose up. Try not to let the airplane get away from us. There's flap up. So we'll bring back to flap 1. As we just apply a little bit of power just to get the speed coming back gradually. Maintain height, but this is what is good for your practice. And this is going to be right on the hoof, so downwind is 124. Certainly eyeball it. Prestwick traffic, Prefect 99 joining crosswind, runway 30. Out to our left. And it's really satisfying when you do it visually just using the chart. That really is good fun. So, as we come downwind, we want to be flap 5. If it is a left-hand circuit or not here, I assume it is. So let's update our landing speed. And there we are. There is Prestwick. So outbound crosswind for a little bit. And as I haven't done a standard overhead join, well, that wasn't really a standard overhead join, I mean that was just a dead side join, but as I haven't done one of those in the 7.3, it might be a little bit sketchy and we might be a little bit close in. We'll aim for a nice tight oval circuit. In fairness, this is probably a bit more fun than your average, so maybe I'll plan a VFR flight tonight. Hopefully do it with some ATC coverage on VATSIM as well. See if I confuse the hell out of controllers. So no idea what the wind is at Prestwick because there's no one to tell us. But there we are, pretty much downwind. And we are a little bit high now. So I'm going to say that's roughly a beam. I'll look for about 35 seconds, just because the wind is now quarter. We'll go for the same plus 7 knots. So 143 will be our approach. Nice bit of countryside down here. Looming bit of terrain ahead of us, so 35 seconds, gear down, flap 50, and then we'll wait for 55 to start the turn. And of course we've got that very helpful extended centre line that I've remembered how to get working to give us a little bit of additional situational awareness. Prestwick traffic, prefect 99 late downwind, full stop, runway 30. Should we land? Big dong. Something going on in Bali, not my problem. More? It's pretty distracting. Anyway, we should be just starting that turn. Starting the descent, maintaining speed, so we're a little bit slow there. I think I can do some more of this tonight. If the weather is suitable, why don't we, I'll plan a NavX visually. Do it with Sky Demon as well. That could be fun. So we are going to arm the speed brakes this time because we are landing rather than touching and going. Let's get that zoomed in. Check the recall. And I think we're still going to be pretty high for this approach. So let's go full flap. We are going to close with terrain pretty spectacularly. I want to get us back on profile. With a little bit of hard work and some maths, I think we could have sorted that out a bit better. But we'll get that profile back in after the dirty dive. We've cleared ourselves to land.
1,000.
He's coming in. So feeding the throttle in early. Managed to overshoot the turn a bit there, but there you go, look, we are happily on the Pappies. We've got a bit of a crosswind. Great idea to come to Prestwick, it was fine, straight down the run at Edinburgh. So, speed brake armed, auto brake 2.
Approaching 30.
Landing flap set, gear down 3 green, start switch is continuous, clear to land. It's checked.
500.
Prestwick traffic, prefect 99, short final, land 30. A little bit higher, but we've got plenty of runway to play with. Maybe I should have come here to practice the crosswind. There's As we
300.
get away, we are going to be a little bit high.
$200.
That's a pretty high closure rate. That should technically have been a go around. Anyway, we'll just look a little bit
100.
further down the run. And as we descend,
50,
looking nice and
40,
far ahead.
30.
Check,
20,
close, look at the far
10.
end of the runway, straighten the aeroplane up just before we touch down. There we go. Get the reversers out because that's something we haven't been doing earlier. And I have no idea where to park at this place. I think we can vacate Kilo up ahead.
80 knots.
So thrust reversers stowed, we're assured of land, of stopping by the end. Manual braking, I think that's Kilo up ahead. And I'm just going to vacate and shut down because I'm hungry.
3,000 feet remaining.
And then I'll think about planning something a little bit visual. I don't know if we should go from here to somewhere else. Maybe we could do that. Or maybe we just depart somewhere VFR. I'm not going to do all the after landing checks. I'm just going to vacate the runway, log off the network and stop. Prestwick traffic, Prefect 99, runway vacated. Actually, we're not going to be holding anyone up if we stop here. So parking brake set. Squawk off. Let's have a look at the scenery. Not bad, so even from like 500 feet, zoom level 17 is pretty good. Not sure if I should go to zoom level 18 around the airports. I'm not fussed for the space, but I do wonder if there'll be a performance hit. I think the sim performed pretty well. GPU is pretty lightly loaded. So yeah, I think it's doing pretty well. It's still a little bit stuttery. Maybe I should fly with a plain aeroplane later. Just a white one. But yeah, that is us arrived. I'm going to log off of... Oh. Going to log off of VATSIM. Oh, Scottish Centre. Maybe I should have been talking to Scottish. Didn't give me any hassle. Anyway, that's us disconnected from VATSIM. Just vacated at Prestwick, used up a lot of runway. And that was visual circuits and a bit of really gash visual nav. And a dead side join to Prestwick, which I may or may not have carried out correctly. But it was fun nevertheless. So I got the aerodrome chart. Where does it say the circuit direction? It should be left hand. Maybe it isn't on there. Let's have a look at Skydemon plate. So we got the nav aids. Got the runways. There's nothing that says it's non-standard, so I assume I joined in the right direction. And there is one NDB at Prestwick, which we could have used to home into, so maybe we should do something like that a bit later. But that's me done, so I hope that was kind of enjoyable. It was just me having a bit of hand flying practice and a bit of a mess about, but I think I might plan something a bit more detailed, do some again later. So if you have been watching, I hope it was enjoyable. It probably wasn't educational, but thanks for watching as always. I look forward to seeing you again later or whenever you can join me next. If you do like the video, please like, please subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Take care, and bye for now.